Welcome to the UK Makers Podcast, episode 8. My name's James.
I'm Rosie.
And I'm Matt.
Wasn't last week fun? Our first guest. A very, very special thanks again to Gareth from Pippi's Woodforge. We had an absolute blast, and no doubt we'll be doing it again in the future. And I think we've already got some more guests lined up as well. So, and all woodworking people. So it's very exciting. For me, anyway. Rosie, how's been your week? How's been your week?
It's been alright. No complaints. Apart from the snow. I fucking hate snow. That's it.
I saw Gareth and yours stories, and it is a winter wonderland up there.
Yep.
How deep?
It's a bit shit.
How deep is it?
I don't know about Gareth. He looks like he had a fair bit, but I think we got like about an inch.
And
so yeah.
Is inch enough, Rosie, or what? For God's sake, we are 1 minute 15 into this. That was a serious question.
Yeah, an inch is enough to piss me off, yeah.
Right.
When I woke up this morning, saw the snow outside, I was like, oh, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Especially when you have to, like, take it off your car.
Sorry?
Piss me off.
You've had snow up there, Rosie. Okay, let's. I think we should move on because Matt's giggling. He's very immature, and I can only apologise on his behalf. So, but no. Okay, have you been driving, Rosie, in the snow? How does the
Yes, I have. I like to drift.
your Asda delivery van?
Yes, of course.
It's
Like to drift my Sprinter van. Shopping fucking everywhere. The doors are open. The thing's fucking capsized. So, mental.
We've had a car accident on our road, and it's quite a long, straight road, and there's a brick wall on a corner, like just a corner plot, and the car has full-on twatted its way through the full-on brick wall, over nearly another brick wall, completely destroyed a hedge that was probably around 800 mil depth. Like it's really, really...
Sounds big, that.
Massive. And the driver says, oh, yeah, I was doing 20, and I just slipped. Yeah, I slipped. 2 o'clock in the morning, might I add, and he immediately left the scene, and there was like, whose is this fucking car in this person's house? Yeah, he was doing 20 miles an hour, which is phenomenal, really, to go through a twin-stacked brick wall, through a hedge, through another little brick wall, and nearly into a house. Yeah, 20 miles an hour.
Good effort.
Yeah.
Yeah, black ice or something.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, black ice. Love that one. Anyway, Matt, how's your week? You've been busy with your pantomime.
No, well, I to be honest, this week I haven't been out in the workshop as much. I went in there Monday. I had Monday off.
Yeah.
So I was doing a little bit of stuff out there. But yeah, for the rest of this week, I've been just chilling in the living room where it's nice and warm for a change.
I get that.
So yeah, looking for an indoor hobby after you've been talking about your the lathe work you've been getting up to, just because of the time of year. So yeah, just been in search of a hobby I could probably do in the living room or dining room that doesn't involve going out in the cold.
Leatherwork, crocheting. That's a lovely indoor hobby. Rosie is shaking her head in disgust. Leatherworking. I'm full on balls deep with leatherworking now. I'm really enjoying it, and it's indoor.
That means you're
making all
shagging a
sorts
cow.
of things.
I missed that. What did you say?
Probably good that you did.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah.
Well, you're making all sorts of things now. I've seen you've been making
A thing and another
basically.
thing.
Well, yeah, it was two
Things.
thingies. I don't quite know what one of the thingies was for, but there was definitely
Something
another
for your
good thingy.
Okay.
And then there was a Ray-Ban copy thingy as well.
Whoa! I'm getting the Ray-Ban stamp made from China. Yeah, it's called Ray Bun. Yeah, Ray Buns. No, I'm really enjoying it. I am, I think, steering more and more towards workwear naturally, just because I wear and I work, I suppose. And I don't know. I have had a sudden realization that I only wear and buy the same kind of clothes, like a hoodie and some work trousers, same kind of pair of boots. And I'm at the age now where I like to be comfortable. You know, I like to know where my penknife is. I like to know where my Sharpie pen is. And I buy the same work trousers because I know that if I put my hand in a certain place, then, you know, I can feel around for my tool. You know, that's the...
I was literally waiting for that collision any moment now.
No, I can feel the right place.
At the right time.
No, but what I've also realised is, right, that when I buy work trousers, like if you buy the cheap ones, like you go to like Sports Direct, they fall to bits, and you know you split your arse out. So I like DeWalt stretch ones. I've had those for 2-3 years now. I had Dickies. Used to really like Dickies, and then they've pulled out of the UK market. So
yes, I also used to love Dickies.
Yeah.
When I worked at one of my old places, they gave me Dickies stuff, and I was like, "These are fantastic."
I know.
Yep. Now can't get it.
There used to be a shop in Doncaster that was the Dickies brand shop, right? Really nice. You go in there, and it was like their brand, what do you call it, outlet store. Mm-hmm. So it was great because it's the only place in the world that had a Stanley Black & Decker shop. It was just full of Stanley Black & Decker shite. And you had Dickies. Now there's nothing. There's a Thornton's and a Cadbury's Warehouse thing that you just come out with 58,000 fudge bars, which is why I'm so fat. Where I was going with this is I buy work trousers because they've got the little pockets in and I can put all my shit where I want it to. But what I find is if you put your torch in the little flaps, you know, like I don't know what you call them, like the ears. I don't know what you call them. The little workman.
The outside pockets.
Yeah, the outside little pockets that you end up just putting like a lighter in there and a pen knife and something like that.
I used to put my fags in there.
Yeah, or douche flutes. Yeah, any site that I've ever been on, that's the douche flute pocket. You know, the vapes. That's what they call them, douche flute. Yeah, sorry, Rosie. That's what it's
better than smoking fags, let me tell you that.
But they're called douche flutes. That's what I was known them as.
Oh dear.
Yeah, they are. So, where I'm circling round and round to this, I want to make my pair of jeans into work trousers, but with a belt. So, I've made like a little fancy tape holder, torch holder, remade my Leatherman case. So I've been thinking, I know it sounds really maybe a bit stupid. You know the little flappy things that you buy in work trousers? I don't know if you can buy those on their own that go on to a normal leather belt. I'm sure there is.
Yeah, they're called utility belts.
Yeah, I know, but they're like fucking great big fucking things.
Pockets.
Yeah, exactly.
That fit on a belt.
Yeah, I know, but you look like a bloody pack horse when you're walking around with them.
This is true.
So what I want is some really, really nice... Jesus, are you all right, Rosie? Not believe I'll edit that out. It's fine. I probably won't. So I want the little flappy ear things to be made out of leather. I want to last for fucking ever. And it means that I can continue buying Sainsbury's jeans that have got the stretch in them, right? Doesn't matter when I weld a fucking hole in them or burn a hole. I can just get rid of the pair of cheap fucking £10 pair of jeans and then have them...
£10? That's a bargain for a pair of jeans.
Yeah, but it's Sainsbury's that have got like the stretching. I don't know, they're like 12...
Yeah.
I think
the TU.
Yeah, 2.
I'm currently wearing a pair. They're my favourite pair, and they're absolutely covered in crap.
I need to go shopping at fucking Sainsbury's. Every time I buy jeans, because I'm a fat bastard now, but it fucking wears down in between the thighs and my flaps hanging out.
I didn't want to say it. You're a brave man, James.
Flap roll.
What did you say?
Matt, behave.
Oh.
Matt. Come on.
I'm not going to say. You said it.
What, chub rub?
What?
Chub rub.
Chub rub.
It's your chubby.
That's what
your chubby bit.
It's all right.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm guilty as charged. I get chub rub too.
Yeah. I'm just a fat bastard though. Like I don't bother with jeans anymore. I wear joggies like all the time. Ever since I put on the weight over lockdown, the first one, so I didn't bother with jeans anymore because it's too expensive to keep buying them because, fat bastard. Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
So, question, James, why are you getting drawn towards workwear? Is it because you get I know you said because you want it to last forever, and there's also the element of being able to repair it, I guess, too. But is it also the fact that you enjoy making something to then use it, to have a use for it, design it specifically for a purpose, and then use it?
Yeah, it's definitely. It's absolutely a combination of that. As everybody does, we've all got our favourite tools. I buy one type of tape measure, which are these Stanley power locks. They've been the same since I think the 1980s, 70s or something. It's like the really traditional classic Stanley. So I know that I've got about 8 of these all dotted around my life. I'm never far away from a Stanley power lock 5-meter tape. So I've made a tape holder that goes into my pocket, and I know it's always there. It's always there. But if you buy work trousers, they've got to fit for everybody, haven't they? So the pockets are fucking huge. If you've got the little hammer hoop on there, I don't need a hammer hoop. I don't need a hoop. Yeah, I don't need a hammer hoop. I don't need that.
Cool whip. Quick sidebar. The power lock tape innovation was done by Stanley in 1963.
Oh, okay. Well, they nailed it back in 1963. The problem is the ones that I've bought recently are all made in fucking France, and the printing is smudgy. So whichever the frog out there who printed my tape measure, wake up, because I've got a smudgy tape measure, which is...
You might want to say that in French.
Oh.
Just in case.
The tape measure is fucking smudgy. How's that? So yeah, wake up, little Frenchman, please. That'd be great. And so I like those ones. It's fine, but as I say, just a little bit smudgy. I don't know why. If you look at the other ones that I've got, the ones that are made in England, which are very nice and very pristine, it's just a lot easier to read. I don't really know what it is. Where I was going with this is that I've got the tools that I like now. I've got the right penknife. I've got the right tape measure. I've got my EDC stuff that I use for working and making things. So I'm pretty happy. I'm content. I don't need another brand of something. I like what I've got in my pockets now. So I feel like I want to make my own work trousers for me. My work, pocket flaps thing.
Well, I suppose, if you're going to make it yourself, you might as well, because I understand that the utility belts are fucking massive and you don't really need all the pockets. So you could make them to the specific tools that you use.
Yeah, I'm a bit like... See, I like an apron, and I know we've all discussed aprons in the past. Aprons are really nice, but they're just...
Even the rough ones.
Yeah, fucking... That hangs up in the corner of my workshop, and whenever I look at it, I'm like, I can't believe I bought that. And you can't sell it, can you? Because who's going to buy a used fucking apron that rubs your nipples off? They've got 2, little blood stains at the back of it. Crying tears of nipple. Anyway, we discussed this last week, so yeah. That's why I'm enjoying leatherworking at the minute, and I think you sway from different things that you want to make. And what's been really nice is that people have actually messaged me and said, I'm not being big-headed here, but could you make me one of those? And I'm not really I don't want to... I don't know, really. I always kind of think whenever you do a job for someone or you sell them something, everybody expects a lifetime guarantee. I'm not saying that's the case, But, if something doesn't work or something breaks, it gets messy, and then you've got to dick around with the post office, and I hate the post office. I don't know.
Me too.
I fucking hate the post office.
But on the flip side, I mean, I know you make these things for people. If, for example, say the stitching or stuff like that breaks or wears, then it's not too beyond their own. Like, it shouldn't be beyond their own capability to be able to stitch a repair on it. Because I know you need a slightly larger needle or whatever, but I've repaired leather work with. Admittedly, I had to buy waxed cotton, and then a leather needle. However, because the holes are already punctured, you just redo the stitching, and it's easy enough to figure out. So you can actually put life back into a product, And, so it shouldn't be too difficult.
I don't know. We're all our own biggest critic, and I kind of think, oh shit, I'm selling it. What if he doesn't like it? What if he finds something that I missed? Like there's an imperfection in the leather or something, or I've got to look at packaging and making it look pretty. Because there's certain products that I buy that are like all wrapped up in nice tissue paper, and it's all really pretty. And you open it, and it's like a nice experience. And I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at the whole presentation looking really smart and kind of sexy. I'm a functional kind of guy, and I do functional type of things. So that's where I feel I let my side down. But it's things like these tape holders that I did, because apparently there's other people that like these tape measures as well, which is nice. They wanted to make those. But what people don't realise is it takes about 3-4 hours to make one of these. And I don't work for anything, and I don't want to take the piss at the same time. But if I was to realistically sell them, the leather is fucking expensive. I can't guarantee a repeat supply of this one sort of leather. It's kind of a bit like, if I do start selling them and then I stop selling them, if somebody else wants to buy one, you've got to guarantee the supply, and then you've got to really commit. Because I feel if you're going to start selling something, you can't just sell one or two and then not bother anymore. I don't know. You've kind of got to have a bit of a plan, or at least make a certain amount. I don't know. I've done it in the past, and then it was a bit of a pain and dream.
I think it's down to your like how much you can output. Because I tried doing something similar with the. I managed to get my hands on a load of smallish gauge railway line. And basically chop them up and turn them into anvils. And,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I made and sold about maybe 5 or 6, maybe.
Yeah.
All in.
I have one.
You have one. I know there's a chap called Marlon who does repair work, and he also does motorcycles. So give him a follow as well. I'll add that onto the onto our Instagram.
Nice.
But yeah, and he's a cracking bloke as well. But he bought one, and as I say, a few others. But I had no intention of making it a production of it.
Yeah.
Because it's just little old me in my machine shop, and to be honest, I don't have the contacts to be able to make it. If say there started being more orders, I wouldn't know where to supply the same track from, and I wouldn't be able to do it on my own because I'm only out in the workshop like limited time during a week. So
I enjoy what I do, and I think if I had the stress and pressure of wanting to 10 people want these, I'm like, oh shit, that's 30
pressure.
hours. That's 30 hours of commitment that, and I don't, I get 6 hours roughly every week at the minute, and by the time that you add it out, and then I think by the time that I've made kind of my 4th or 5th tape holder, you kind of think, fucking hell, this is boring. And then I started thinking, oh, what about a CNC laser? Because then I could, fit it in the workshop. I could put it in with fair easy amount of, disruption. And then you think, okay, I needed to do 2mm leather. Oh, well, what if I wanted to do 4mm leather? And then what if I wanted to do... So then by the time that you've kind of added everything up, it's like, $6,000. Right, so I need to spend $6,000 on a laser, which I can't afford. I need to spend all this and getting the things. And then I need to make like fancy boxes and buy tissue paper, just to make like a £30 fucking tape measure holder, for example. for example. I don't want it to become a chore. I don't.
Well, that's when it stops becoming like a hobby and it becomes more of a, as you say, a chore. And also, there's also the element of, I mean, for me in the Anvils thing that I did, I got the track. I say for free. I bought it at the same time as I bought my power hacksaw.
I love.
So, essentially, it was free. So for me, all I ever charged was really the cost of me machining it.
Yeah.
Whereas, as you just said, because leatherwork, I mean, there's one of the things that has prevented me from getting into leatherwork in more of a way, is purely because of the cost of just trying to find, or just trying to get hold of a reasonable supply of leather to make stuff out of. And it's some of the stuff I wanted to make I needed a big sheet of it. Well, you're talking hundreds of pounds before you've even started. Like, point for entry level on leatherwork is pretty high. I mean, the tools itself, as you did when you started out, as you said before, you could buy the cheap set of tools and they'll get you started.
Yeah.
But then you want the better stuff later on. But to actually buy the raw materials is quite expensive.
I'm lucky. Well, I would say I'm lucky. I've contacted a seller on eBay that seemed to I bought up job lots off him. But now the stuff that I like has ran out. So I was buying around 1 kg. So I bought a job lot of leather, 1 kg for I think £50. And 1 kg sounds a lot, but when when you're working with 2
when you look at a cow and think 1 kilogram of his
oh yeah, it's full on drop. And it's 2 mil veg tan, pre-dyed, very heavy, really heavy gauge leather. It's you get 6 sheets and it's £50, and it's oh
yeah. And they're all weird cuts because they're obviously are they all off cuts as well?
Yeah, they're all off.
So then you can't guarantee what you're gonna get in size.
Well, I said to Missy, I said, "Oh, what I'd love to do is make a satchel. Like one of these traditional satchels, and I could wood turn a nice little handle, and it could be for business, for doing business meeting, business things." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was really, really good. Yeah, that'd be a nice project. You can buy templates online." So, oh yeah, really good. Yeah, really good. I did it up, and it was something ridiculous. Just for the leather was around £300. And then when you want the nice brass little fasteners, each little fastener, each little buckle, each little D ring, and all this type of stuff, it was £8 for one bit of fastener. So it's fucking hell. You're talking £400 for me to fuck something up, because that's what would happen. So,
essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a bit oh god, I don't want to do it. No, it's unattractive.
It's funny that you mentioned about satchels, because the first thing I did to get the gateway for me getting into leatherwork was me and the missus were walking around. So before we had Harrison, me and the missus used to just carve up the UK into a grid, and then we would assign a part of the grid to a pack of cards, and then we would shuffle a deck of cards, pull a card out, and that was where we were going for the weekend. We'd take a long weekend.
That's a right good idea.
And we wound up. It's genuinely a really good way of just going, we're bored this weekend, we've got nothing to do. I'll take the Friday and the Monday off. Where are we going to go?
Yeah.
And we wound up in Cromer, which I think is Norfolk. I'm going to get shouted at now. But, yeah.
Over that way.
And anyway, when we were there, we ended up having as with all British high streets now, there aren't shops anymore. It's mostly charity shops.
And coffee.
Coffee shops. So we went and got a coffee, slice of cake, and then we went for a wander down the high street. We ended up charity shop shopping. And as we were going down these charity shops, we ended up... Well, I found this leather satchel, and it was old school leather, and it had a stamp, which I was pretty certain was... It said 1937. It was quite badly worn and faded, but I thought bad attitude. I'm definitely sure that's 1937. So I bought it because it was only like £5 or £6.
Nice.
Bearing in mind it was like chunky leather. But the reason why they were selling it for £5 was because the stitching on the actual strap was knackered.
Yeah.
And there was a hole in the bottom where the stitching had basically rotted away.
Nice.
And that was my first leather project, was where I ended up unstitching it all and restitching it with waxed cotton on a big sock-off needle.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was my first sort of project. But yeah, trying to find any. Well, I mean, I know you said in the last when we were talking about leather work before that you ended up going into charity shops asking for leather skirts and leather biker jackets and the like.
Yeah, and then you realise you get it home and it's like, oh, it's PU leather. Ooh, or faux leather. Oh wow, it's faux. What does that mean? Google it. Oh shit, it's fake leather.
Yeah.
And you're like punching through effectively tarpaulin, which is just not. Yeah, it's just not great.
And then when you pull the stitch, it just basically bites in and then just cuts the PVC. Yeah, it's shite.
It's not ideal, and I've had a lot of comments because my machine has come with a servo motor and it's got a pedal. So on the back of it here, there's a motor, and it goes on that pulley at the top there. And they're like, "Why aren't you using the motor?" Well, I don't want to use the motor. It's a hand crank sewing machine from like the 1930s. I'm in no rush, or no, I think it was earlier. No, I did the serial number, and I think it was something like 1913 or 1917. And it's like, I'm not in production here. Like, some people just don't fucking get that I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I don't need to make it electric and modern. It's something quite nice about, an old machine. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking rubbish, but
no,
it's nice.
It's whatever you want it to be. I mean, it's yours, isn't it? If you wanna just hand crank. I mean, so for example, I don't understand why you guys like belt driven lathes. For me, I know someone's going to say, "Oh, the Harrison M300 lathe is belt driven." Yes, I know, but it's got a big electric motor.
I was about to say, like, your lathe's probably belt driven.
I know, under the hood, if you like, but to change gear, it's got a gearbox in it, and it's lovely, it's modern, and that's my preference. Whereas I know you guys have had the Drummond lathes, where you have to literally change the belt over to a different pulley.
Not anymore.
To get and it's again personal preference. So
can I just say, right? I'm going to talk engineering lathes for just a very, very short amount of time, right? I recently bought a Myford ML7. This is my third Myford ML7 now. And every time that I put up a picture or I'm using it, I get a comment saying, "Why did you buy that? You should have bought a Colchester Student that was, half the price and it's much better, or you should have bought a Boxford CUD because it's much better." There are a lot of machines out there that are better than a Myford. There is no shadow of a doubt.
Why didn't you buy a Mazak Integrates?
Exactly.
I mean, that's got an opposing spindle. It's got 40 tool changer. Why didn't you get one of those?
I know. Yeah. Why didn't I buy a full CNC machine shop? Fun. Go into a company and I'm buying this place now because I want something better than a Myford. Myfords did well, and this is going to sound really bad. Myfords did well because they fit a certain need. They fit on a bench. They can fit in the back of a car. You can lift it. You can clean it easy. You can buy the tools really easy. All the parts on a Myford, any Myford, well, most Myfords are pretty accessible because there's so many other fucking things. I've got lathes that I've bought in the past, and you can't find things. You can't find the tumbler reverse. You can't find certain levers. My wood lathe that I bought, my Walker Turner Delta American-made wood lathe, has been a fucking nightmare. My milling machine is a fucking nightmare, because I've had to outsource specialist equipment to get things to work for me.
Can we just insert in here when you said in a previous podcast, what was it? I like what was it you said? How did you
I
phrase
like
it?
unordinary things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
Extraordinary, like the non-norm. And I get where you're coming from, because I have a thing for that too. But then the idea of having a piece of machinery which you then can't find, you cannot, you know, I'm sure there's a lathe out there that's got a back gear that's got like 17 1/3 teeth or some shit like that, and you would never find one because they only made them for that lathe, and then after they made that lathe, the company went bust, so there's no spares, there's no what they call it, new old stock or anything like that.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Exactly.
So now you're going to have to find someone who can make it for you, and then that's cost and so on, and that scares me. That's sort of having a machine that I can't source replacement parts for easily.
Exactly.
So,
I am.
Hat off to you for doing it.
The thing is, like Rosie would get this. If I when I take on a project like this, like my bobbin sander, for example, it's still not done, but I know how to do it. It's nearly done. I just need to bolt it all back together. But I don't want to rush it. I'm not in a rush. You know, I'm ticking off a load of projects at the minute, and I have this little bit inside me that is like, if you don't save this, James, it's going to go in the bin and it's going to go in a scrapyard, and it's another machine that's kind of going into the workshop of heaven type thing. I know it sounds really corny, but I get a lot of enjoyment using like my 1950s Meteor Glaswegian-made wood lathe that no one's ever fucking heard of, but it is eye-wateringly good quality. Now I fixed it. When I got it, heap of shit. Needed bearings, needed restoring, needed realignment, needed the bed shimmed up, and also just to try and get it to turn well. Now I've got it, you can bollocks to all your fancy record power and Axminster tools that cost $3,000 for something that weighs a quarter of mine. And I don't know. I'm not going to go back into this because we have discussed this topic to death. Rosie, you must know with the best adjustable spanner is either a Nipex or a Baco. But you don't buy rare vintage tools because they're the best tools. In fact, they're pretty shit, a lot of them, admittedly.
Yep.
But that's not the point. And people don't get that. And it annoys me. Rosie, take it away. Talk about your spanners. I was going to say tool, and I refrained myself.
Oh. You still said it anyway.
I know.
You just had to go back there.
I did.
But
Rosie, you did something cool this week.
I did.
I think you should tell us about that.
Rosie, tell us.
Had an apprenticeship interview
Woo-hoo!
yesterday, Wednesday.
Very nice.
It was really good. Really enjoyed myself. It was very exciting. I went in thinking, because the place they make particle board, OSB and MDF. So my first thought was I would be working with wood. But as it turns out, these machines need maintenance. They need parts. So essentially, now I will say that the company came into my college last week on my week off, and they got shown about by my business partner for my course, and they were like, "Oh, we're looking for a machinist," and my business partner went basically apeshit. She was like, "Oh, I've got this lassie in the pre-apprenticeship course that is desperate to become a machinist," sort of thing. So they were like, "Oh, we want to hear from this lassie." So Lorraine, my business partner, she passed on my information, and on Friday I got a call from this company saying that they've not actually advertised the roles yet, but they were very excited to speak to me and invited me for an interview. So I went in for the interview yesterday, and I think it went quite well.
Nice.
So just need to kind of wait and see, because technically they haven't advertised the roles yet, which they usually do around springtime. So I'll maybe need to wait till then, but hopefully I made that much of an impression that they're like, fuck everybody else, we're hiring Rosie because she's cool as fuck.
Name your prize.
Fingers crossed.
Pretty much.
Name your prize.
Yep. I also want to take a minute to shout out one of my lecturers, Jamie. Jamie Crookston. He's my favourite lecturer. Right, he takes my manufacturing course that I'm doing alongside my pre-apprenticeship, and I told him on Monday that I now do a podcast, and he is listening to it. So I thought I'd give him a shout out.
Oh, fair play!
Nice.
Because he is one of my favourite lecturers, and probably some of the reason why I want to get into machining. So, apart from you, Matt.
Oh,
my
what
hero.
backhand compliment that is.
My absolute hero, Matt. I love
Yeah. You're right.
Teach me everything you know.
Well, you've got 10 minutes spare.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my exciting thing for this week.
Nice.
Cool.
And how was like the whole process? Did you go and look around the factory? What did you?
I didn't, but assuming that I get to the next stage, they said that they would show me about. They'd show me the machines that they use and the lathes, the mills, the drills, and all that.
Cool.
I said to them, like, look, if I did get to that stage, my eyes would light up and I'll be like a pig in shite, basically.
Nice.
I didn't say that to them because obviously, professional.
Professional.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, it's one of those things. And I don't know if this goes for anyone else, but like when I went to pick up the pantograph the other week, I sort of asked, can you show me around, like what they do? So the company that I went to pick up the pantograph from, they were basically a laser cutting folding company. I guess it's okay to give them a shout out on it, but looking at James, maybe it won't then.
Contractor, yeah, lovely people. Basically,
they're brilliant.
They're very well known in the industry. So yeah, they were, nice people. Very
nice people. Anyway,
when
I met the boss, I basically said, can you show me around? He was like, yeah, sure. So we went around, we had a look at some of the laser cutting machinery they had, the folding equipment that they had. They got a few CNC machines up there as well for doing other bits and bobs. They also showed me the machine that replaced the need of the pantograph, which was like a laser etching machine that does these massive plates. Really impressive bit of kit. And then they showed me to the old, like, even now, in the age of computers and all the rest of it, they still had 2 Bridgeports and I think 1 Colchester Student and a Colchester Triumph, I think, as well, on site, because you always need them, because there's always something that's just quicker to do on a manual than it is to do on a CNC. And when I saw them, I was like, oh, this is my wheelhouse. So I was going around and having a proper poke around the machinery and all that. And they're really accommodating, and I'd love looking around machine shops just generally.
I get
so it. Yeah,
they're nice people, and they've got some very nice kit that they're very good people. I know, I'll word it that way. They're very good. They're very nice people. I love going to that sort of place as well, and I find it amazing that no matter where you are in the country, but if you go into like a sheet metal fabrication / machining shop, some like an OEM of some sort of componentry, there is always a fly press in a corner. Always a fly press. You know what I mean? The fly press is the most underrated, untalked about machine in the whole of Great Britain, because there is one everywhere. I'm from an aerospace background, and seriously, what those machines still build to this day, puts planes in the skies, little components and pressed up that are for a fly press. Fucking phenomenal. They're amazing. So I always get a little bit giddy and always talk to people about that. It just makes me giggle a little bit. Go on, Rosie, what were you about to say?
I don't know. Well, actually, yes. See, on Monday, I went to Metal Supermarkets in Govan, which is about 30 miles away from me. And, in central Scotland, very limited on places like that. So I did travel. But it was like, when I got there, I really wanted, I cannot express how much I wanted to go look in the back and look at all the metal and all that. But obviously, because it was like a massive warehouse and you need like PPE and all that, I couldn't go in. There was no windows or anything, so I couldn't see in, so I was kind of gutted. But I really wanted to have a look and just touch all the metal, because I'm sure they've got copper and brass through the back as well. So it's like,
well, you find, I don't know if this goes for you guys, but when you've got a job or you're having, thinking of a project in mind, when you can actually see and handle the material that you're potentially going to be using or getting hold of, it helps you adjust in your head the processes of how you're going to make it or what you're going to make it from. And actually, if I'm doing that, I won't need to machine that out, billet. If I had a bit of box section, 40 by 40, and if you've got it in front of you, you can make those mental adjustments to your design.
Yeah,
it's like kind of like what we were talking about last week.
Yeah, again,
sort of thing.
and I think obviously knowing what they've got behind the counter, it helps. It's like
they had offcuts of like flat steel bar and stuff like that in the reception area, and I was like, oh, I don't need it, but look at it, sort of thing. And this talking on stock. Gareth mentioned last week when we were talking about Damascus about a Japanese version called Mukami, if you remember. So I done some research on that, and I was like, holy fucking shit, I need some, because it's brass, copper and silver nickel, like made together, and Mukami I think means wood grain, so it's like nice and twisted and stuff like that.
Okay.
How do you spell Bukaki?
So dirty bastard.
No, what did you say, Bukaki?
Mukami, so I think it's
Mukami.
I've spelled it wrong. I think it's Mokume.
Why is everything Japanese spelled Japanesey? It's very unfair.
So anyway, yes, so I done some research into it, and holy shit, I really want some, but like normally I get stuff off of eBay, and like it was from the United States, and it was like £140 for like a really small part of it.
Christ.
And then I found this ringsupplies.co.uk, which is it's an American company, but they have a UK site. It was like,
keep it together, James.
£60 or something like that for an inch long and like 28mm diameter. James is going to fucking lose it.
Was there a good choice of rings?
It's a ring supplier. It doesn't supply rings. It supplies materials for making rings, James.
Right. I just thought I'd clarify that for the listeners.
So, yeah, £60 for this little bit of Mukami gain. And at some point, I will buy some.
Sorry, I still can't spell it. So it's just for our listeners. So it's Mokumei, is it?
Ume.
Ume. And what's the origin of that? What's the why was it done?
I don't even know what you would use it for.
Shit!
Ring making.
Is that all it was used for?
I don't know, but that seems to be like jewellery making sort of thing. So Mokume. And if you want the whole thing, it's Mukami Gain. Gane.
You know what might be a good solution for you, Rosie, is buying armoured cable. I know it sounds really, really silly. Have you seen the armoured cable things that people make? Armoured.
Yep. Like superconductor.
Yes. That's just
as fucking expensive, I'll have you know. I've had a look into that.
Is it? Armoured?
Yeah. Because obviously it's titanium and copper in it, so titanium itself is expensive.
Oh, and it's dangerous.
And copper, obviously, It's quite expensive, but not as expensive as brass, funnily enough.
Yeah, I went to because I'm pretty sure that metal supermarket, they're nationwide, aren't they? Like the whole of the UK.
Yeah, they've got stores everywhere.
I lived in Loughborough for a little while, and there was one. I'm sure that was the place, and I went down to there, and I was pricing up at the time AD Swasher's single cylinder steam engine that I fancied making it work when I had a proper job. Just like, it was a little Stirling engine, very small, desktop, all the parts I could kind of get. I just needed, I think it was something like a 52mm, so a 2-inch piston for the main bit of it. And I priced it up, and it was something like that. And it was like, oh yeah, that'll be about 180 quid for that bit. I'm like, 180 quid? It was something ridiculous. It was, I don't know, that big, massive. There was a few other little bits and bobs, and I was not on a lot of money at the time. I won't pay that now, never mind. Not being...
When you were only earning 100 quid a week.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Well, the bit of steel that I bought was 0.5 metre by 1 inch in diameter, and I only paid a tenner for it.
What, for brass?
No,
Brass
for
steel.
steel.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, fucking hell. Well, I've got a few clients, customers, whatever, who've got the what they're called, hydrofeed sliding head lathes from. They're based in Derby, the CNC machines. What they're called, Matt? Fucking hell, not Crown. I can't remember. The blue anyway. The blue CNC machines, and they have these hydrofeed bar loaders, and they can only.
Akuma?
No, well, they're a CNC company based in Derby. The next to Rolls-Royce in
XYZ.
No, not XYZ. What they're called? CNC company.
I'm writing it in now, pal.
I can't remember. But anyway, I've got.
There's going to be people shouting at their phones.
Star.
This.
Come on. Star machines.
Star Macronics.
Yeah.
GB.
Yeah. Star. The next to, I think it's like near Pride Park or wherever it is. I can't remember now. I've not worked in Derby for some years now. But yeah, those machines are the little hydrofeed loaders, and I think they have, every machine has like a scrap value of it that can physically automate and load. So it's something like 450mm, which is absolutely perfect for Myford lathes and just the size that I've got. So I go around, and I'm due to go at some point, and I basically give them some beer money, and I get like a bucket full of these offcuts because they're no use, and they just chuck them in the skip. So I think it is worth, going to your local little independent subby contractor, getting mates with the.
Sorry, I just talked over you there.
No, that's right. Just get friendly with your local CNC shop and be a pint.
Yeah.
Mixed.
Well, basically, right. I spoke about my favourite lecturer, Jamie.
Yeah.
So what he's did over the last couple of weeks is when he's been teaching his classes, so like the CNC machining, he has been, and he's an absolute legend, he has been saving the offcuts for me.
Nice.
Of aluminium. So on Monday, he basically went, I've got something for you. And he took me around to the metal fabrication workshop, and he was like, hold out your hands, and he just dropped a whole load of aluminium billets into my hands. And honestly, the guy's a legend. He said, because he saved these bits for me. So did you stop being a fucking knob? Every time I open my mouth, you're fucking laughing. It's fucking rude as fuck.
Sorry, Rosie.
Sorry. It was Matt. Matt was making me giggle. Well, if
it was Matt, I forgive him. If it was you, you can fuck off.
I want to talk. Can we move on now? Because Matt's being very immature. I think we should move on. And I want to take up a discussion about new hobbies. And I think we should try and learn a new skill. I try and learn a new skill, at least one skill every year. So, by the time I'm 90 odd, I might actually be good at something. Matt, you are taking up a new hobby, potentially, maybe. And I've seen your research of take it away. I'm going to let you talk about it.
So just checking I'm not muted. Recently, I say recently. So going back along, when I was a kid, my dad used to have Adobe Illustrator on his PC, and I taught myself how to use Adobe Illustrator.
When I was a boy.
Exactly. And basically, I ended up enjoying just making pretend company signs of varying, like, different eras, and I got interested in signs, just generally what you'd see around you. And my folks had been in that sort of in their careers. They worked in advertising, so they were doing similar things, but usually for like product labels and whatnot. So they had a vague interest in it.
But like Mad Men. You know what's
Mad
that?
Men?
Oh, it's a TV series. But advertising in like the 50s. Don Draper. American advertising like Coca-Cola and Chevy and
yes. Nothing quite so cool though. I think my folks worked on the Oxo Cube and the Oxo Cube packaging and
so British.
The fridge chocolate milkshakes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they did that sort of thing. But anyway,
very cool.
By the by, and I got into the idea of doing signs. Anyway, one thing and another, I ended up not being able to get hold of Adobe Illustrator because they changed their licensing, and basically you got to pay, the debt off of a small country to be able to use it now.
Yeah.
And so, and being interested in like heritage skills and old school methods of doing things, I ended up just drawing stuff by hand. And then more recently, through watching The Repair Shop, I saw Dominic Chenier, and I followed his YouTube channel and his Instagram.
Yeah.
And he mentioned about sign writing. And I was like, holy crap, I didn't know this was a thing where you had people who would physically paint the signs on the side of things.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden it kind of makes sense. So then I thought, I'd like to have a stab at that. Maybe on a smaller, obviously a much smaller scale than like on the side of a frigging building or a car or something like that. I mentioned it to my folks, and my dad seems to collect these sort of random hobbies and interests as well, because he's always had an interest in like 1930s railway posters. He's got like a book of collections of like the very Art Deco-y styled railway posters. Again, all hand drawn and painted.
Very beautiful.
Initially. But he ended up finding this book made by, I believe his name's Joby Carter. I don't know if that's how you say it. Jobby Carter? But anyway.
We Jobby.
What?
We Jobby.
God's sake. Yes. I completely get where you're coming from, Matt. And
you love penis jokes. I love Jobby jokes. I love Jobby jokes. Sorry, continue, Matt.
So, Joby Carter's written this book, and Joby Carter comes from a family that owns the Vintage Steam Fair, I believe, like Fun Fair.
No.
And he does all of the handwriting on all of the vehicles now. And he's him and somebody called, is it Scarlett Rickards, I think.
But anyway, it's very traditional. It's very traditional. It's
old school hand painting signs, and I want to give it a go. So I'm going to buy myself a bit of glass, because you can paint on glass and then wipe it off when you're done. When you're finished with it, and then you can just have another stab. And buy myself a little set of decent brushes and some basic paints, and just have a go at it really, and see what I can do.
If you live anywhere near a canal, right? Because I used to live on a boat. And obviously, barge art is extremely popular with said folk. I'm not a traditional inland boater, so to speak. I'm not a big fan of the barge art. Some people do. I can appreciate it, but you'll see like these incredibly detailed, like coal buckets or like a watering can, that was from the ages of. When we had a canal network that was for industry. So that's the kind of very detailed beautiful handwritten signs, and they're amazing, like the full-on side of the boat. So yeah, I completely get where you're coming from, Matt. Where I was saying with this is you might be able to, I don't know, maybe someone local that you could have a go with, because any marina, the chances are someone's probably getting the boat painted, and if you've seen them paint like the side of a boat, it's phenomenal, because the boat's like full on going up and down, obviously, because it's a fucking boat. The pontoon's rising, and they get like a stick, and then they're like leaning over.
A maul stick.
It's amazing.
I'm reading all about it, mate. Don't you worry.
It is phenomenal. And then
you even have canals in Bristol.
Yeah. Well, more towards Gloucestershire, I think. But down this way, we've got Porter's Head, where you get quite a few yachty bottom. It's yachts mostly, but Porter's Head is obviously the local sort of yachts.
Yachts, fancy yachts.
Fancy yachts, yeah. But no, it's very cool. Fancy. Like the brush, the length of the brush is something like what is it? About 6 inches long, Matt? The actual horsehair brush.
The brushes I bought initially were for pinstriping, so doing all of the stuff from like the
that's cool
sort of 1950s hot rods, 1950s, 60s, and so they're probably about 2.5, I think, roughly 2.5 inches.
2.5 inches.
You two are keeping very straight faces. I'm impressed. You're doing well.
Shocking.
Just been thinking about Gareth, actually.
2 inch okay. Gareth, Rosie?
Because he claims his is about 2 inches, So
his brush. We should like to just clarify, because he painting his fingernails with a 2-inch brush.
But yeah, so the brushes for sign writing and pinstriping are a lot longer than your standard normal paintbrushes you can pick up. But I've got a lot to learn. It's like this book is sort of filling in a lot of gaps in my knowledge that from my other researching on the internet. But basically, as it says in the books, there's no substitute. You just need to get doing it and learn.
Yeah.
So I mean, what about you? Because I know we were talking about new skills we want to learn. What about you? What are you planning on learning?
Well, I'm constantly learning like the leatherworking stuff at the minute, but I think as soon as it gets to nice weather, I want to be out, because I get a bit of cabin fever. I don't know why. I mean, I lived in a boat for 5-6 years, 5 years, and I was fine in the boat all the time and whatever, when I didn't have a full-on workshop, and then I rented one. But anyway, so leatherworking's taken up a lot of nice time. I've never really... I'm wanting to do more gardening. I'm getting to an age now. I enjoy, the outdoors and using my garden. So I want to try to make some brick planters and do a bit of bricklaying. And I've got a cement mixer. I've had a cement mixer for years that I used to use for deburring parts, funnily enough. So I want to give that a go. But bricklaying and pricing up materials and getting good stuff and trying to get nice bricks. I know it sounds really daft. You can go out and buy new bricks, but then you go to a builder's merchant and you're like, I want some bricks, enough to make this. And you work out everything, and the bricks that I want are like the old pretty ones that are reclaimed. So you have to go to a reclamation yard, and they've either got 1 million bricks, and you have to buy 1 million bricks, or you've got 20 in a pile. So I'm trying to find somewhere that's got a decent enough supply that I can just buy enough of and then learn, because I've never bricklayed before properly. I've done greenhouse bases and dwarf walls and that type of thing, but I want to make some nice pretty planters. And I think nice pretty planters is a good way to end this episode of talking about new hobbies. And we would love to hear about your new hobbies that you're trying to learn this year. And leave them down in the description of something that you're learning, something that you think is really interesting, and you might even want us to discuss on this podcast. So do leave a comment. Rosie, Matt, have you got anything to add to this week's episode? I think we're going to tie it up.
No, not really. But you
Just
didn't ask me if I had any hobbies. Like, whatever.
Matt, I know it sounded very rude of me. Matt said his tea is 2 minutes away, so
I'm happy to dive off, and you guys can carry on.
No, it's fine. I don't have any hobbies that I want to learn. I'm just going to stick to the stuff I'm doing because I don't have any fucking time anyway. So what's the fucking point?
Also, if there's people out there who are wanting to start new hobbies, like just to get like something they're interested in but don't know where to sort of
start,
their entry point could be into it.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, what are you having for your dinner?
Oh yeah, good question.
I'm going to be honest with you. It's a Slimming World tray bake.
Oh,
I can't remember what was on the front of the packaging.
Stop it!
Oh,
stop it! You wee job.
Oh, that's divorce material. That fucking hell.
Oh,
You say that, I'm the one that put it in the oven.
Get yourself a chippy, a wee sausage supper, or a haggis supper. Do you get haggis suppers in England?
God, no.
No, we've got taste.
I'd love it if we did, but we don't.
I do like
Fuck off, James.
It's been
No one
burnt
asked
night.
you.
And
English prick.
it's been Burns night, so yeah, we do have haggis every year. And
I'd like to clarify that I am also English. Thank you. Good night.
I thought you were Welsh.
No.
Yeah.
I thought you ate taffies.
York District Hospital, mate.
Thank you very much for listening to this week's episode of the UK Makers Podcast, episode 8. I've been James, Rosie has been Rosie, and Matt has indeed been very immature, so we do apologise on his behalf.
Matt's getting it tonight, like.
Again, another special thanks for last week's special guest, which was Gareth. We'll be special guest. We'll definitely be having him again soon, sharing his experience of his 2-inch paintbrush. Thank you very much for joining us. We will see you in the next one. Leave any comments, questions, or just general support. We'd love to hear from you. And we'll see you in episode 9. Thank you.